Big changes are coming, everybody, as we get this sudden stratospheric warming event. This is going to change our weather pattern as we go from the end of November and in through December as well. So I'm going to show you what your winter forecast is going to be so far as we go from November into December, because we are getting another Arctic blast and we are getting snowstorms, and it's going to add up to a lot of snow still as we go through December. Now I'm going to walk you through the weather pattern so you know exactly what to expect for the rest of November and into December. Starting with today, you can see on your EPO, your jet stream along the west coast, you see that trough that we're in from the storm that we're going, showing it's going to go even deeper as we go all the way towards Tuesday and Wednesday. This is where it comes towards the south central, potentially bringing a day of severe weather, maybe for Thursday along the Gulf, and maybe a little bit for Friday as well along the Gulf. But then you see that this trough is going to go very deep as we go into Thanksgiving week, all the way towards beginning of December, with the deepest being right around Thanksgiving. Now, the pattern we're going into, this isn't coming across the south and the southeast. This is coming straight down towards the four corners. Now, when you look at the latest deterministic model runs, you can see in your latest run with our jet stream that we are getting that trough of that storm system that is going to build up and go even deeper as we go into tomorrow and Tuesday. That deeper trough that we're getting, that's going to come by for Wednesday into Thursday, potentially bringing a day of severe weather. But remember, this trough is going deeper all the way into the 20s, and you can see as we go even further, we get a deeper storm coming way far all the way towards Mexico as we go by the 23rd and the 24th, bringing another potential southern storm. Then after this, another one coming right behind this, right around Thanksgiving. Now, around Thanksgiving, we're going to be in this pattern where the cold air is going to come down towards the four corners, towards Mexico, and go up on a higher ridge, where we could get anywhere in this region a storm, a snowstorm, or severe weather. So we're still going to see a storm system for Wednesday and Thursday, and also into this weekend for Saturday and Sunday across the south. Then potentially a bigger storm as we get this Arctic blast coming through for Thanksgiving. And you can see this here on your vorticity. It shows your rotation in the atmosphere. So as we get in this trough along the west coast, all the way for that next system that comes in for Monday, also bringing you some more storms, some more flooding, while this comes across the central U.S. This isn't doing anything. It never showed that was going to do anything. Is this one that coming across California for Monday and Tuesday that's bringing the heavy rainfall with it? This is going to bring some flooding. But as you come from Wednesday into Thursday, where it starts getting that deep tilt and that deep trough, bringing you a day of severe weather for the south, potentially for Oklahoma and Texas. Now, these storms will go further towards the north, but you start losing your convection quickly, and it's the winds aloft that keeps your thunderstorms going. So if anything, maybe some damaging winds will persist out of that, and maybe a small tornado threat. I don't think it's going to be a huge threat. I'm seeing the impacts mild down some, but you can still see it goes even deeper as we go all the way into the weekend for Saturday into Sunday with a second storm system, and now we're going 8 days, everybody. So where this storm system is going to position at, whether it sits over here maybe as a cutoff low really deep, or whether it swings across the south and the southeast, is still undetermined. But what we do know is that as we go into this pattern, we're going to get this high pressure that's going to be building over here. And this is going to send everything up on that higher ridge as we go through the rest of November. You see how they all swing to the north for the rest of November. Now, that's important, because if it wasn't for that high pressure blocking that pattern, we would go into another Arctic blast across the south and the southeast. You can see here from your latest update with the Arctic oscillation that as we go into Thanksgiving week, the cold air is going to start coming through, but it's not coming super deep all the way until the end of November and the beginning of December, potentially going even deeper. This is what's going to swing across the Great Lakes and the Northeast. I'll show you. So let's go way up in the stratosphere, and you can see this anomaly pushing through. We still have this sudden stratospheric warming event where we have this big cold anomaly pushing through, and you can see the pattern literally as we go into the 20s. We start getting this jet stream going on a pattern like this, and then it starts deepening with the cold air coming out. And you can see that cold air punches all the way towards the four corners. You see that? It doesn't go all the way into the U.S. You don't see this big anomaly coming way down here. So this is going to be a big freezing event for Canada. Negative temperatures, very cold wind chills. But you can see for the United States, it's bringing that deep trough going up on that high ridge where you're going to get storms across this region while you get a cold blast across this region. So that's the pattern we're going into for the rest of November. Now, as we go past this pattern, there's another pattern we're going into for the very beginning of December. Now, the storm system that's coming across California, that's going to hit across the south central as we go Wednesday into Thursday. You can see here your temperatures raise way up, and you do have warm temperatures. This helps keep convection as well, gets instability in the atmosphere, helps food for your thunderstorms to grow. And you can see as you go into the weekend, potentially that southern storm could bring some cooler temperatures further towards the south as that swings by. Nothing super big to write home about. All the cold air is going to be balled up across the west because of the weather pattern that we're going into. But it could bring the 40s and 50s once again across the south. But once again, this is going to be a west side of the U.S. that's going to get hit real hard with this Arctic blast. Showing that as we go into the day before Thanksgiving, you're going to get some very cold temperatures moving through, some teen temperatures, some single digits that's going to swing through. And with the wind chills, it's going to be really cold, especially in the Rockies. But once again, these storms that's passing through. So the one coming through still for Tuesday, not showing is doing anything severe. It's just going to bring you some rainfall. But the one that's coming through for California for tomorrow and swinging by the four corners for Tuesday and coming across the south central for Wednesday into Thursday. Then we have that second one that's coming across for the weekend. Now you can see as you go Wednesday into Thursday, you get your dew points way up. But if you look a little further towards the north, these are very low 60s. Your severe weather dew points would be more like along the Gulf where you're getting the high 60s and those 70s coming across as you come across for Wednesday evening into Thursday. That's your best chance for severe weather, maybe even some for Friday as well. And you can see this here. So your cape raises up for Wednesday as you go into Thursday. You have some instability in the atmosphere. This is by noontime on Thursday, but you can see how it's stronger along the south and it starts becoming stabilized further towards the north as you go into the afternoon. So your severe weather will be along the southern side of the U.S. Maybe some early in the morning storms for Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas, but it will dwindle down towards Texas and Louisiana as we go through Thursday evening, overnight into Friday as well. You can even see on your latest update with the Euro as you get chances for damage and winds to come across. Look how much weaker of a scenario we are seeing. Maybe get some 40s with some isolated 50s in there before it becomes stable and then it becomes back down to a weak event. And yes, it is trending with GFS as well. A very weak event on that storm. So you can see here as you go Wednesday evening, overnight into Thursday. This is where you get a chance to get some severe weather over here for Texas. You see all the clusters of thunderstorms further towards the north. They're already getting thinned out and going away, but you could get some damage and winds, maybe some hail over here for Texas as you go through for Thursday evening, stretching into Oklahoma. If this low pressure keeps showing true further towards the north, this is going right at 5 days. As we go later in the evening for Thursday, when you go overnight, you can see it starts weakening down on these thunderstorms towards the north. Could bring a little bit of a damage and wind event. You can see right here where your isobars, they are getting a little bit close together. So maybe some damage and winds on the western side over here for Nebraska, a little bit of a Kansas, but it's not showing a super strong event. This will just bring some thunderstorms, maybe with a little bit of damage and winds coming from Texas and Oklahoma. What we need to watch for is these little isolated cells that's coming by in front of this system. This could bring your only tornado threat that I can see. That's where you have high 60, even low 70 dew points. But once again, as it goes further towards the north, now we're going later into the night. Overnight, it's just your strong winds aloft, bringing a chance for some damage and winds possibly on the western side. You can see that here. The rest is just going to be thunderstorms. You don't have the dew points. You don't have the lift. It's just going to be thunderstorms coming through. Your main event's going to be right here across the central U.S. Chances for snow, freezing rain, even some winds from that storm system. Then as we go into the weekend, possibly another southern storm going further towards the south. So we need to watch out for that as well. This is going right at 8 days. So it's already going too far. We don't even know if this one's going to pan out that deep. Showing all the way for the next 7 days. It's going to add more rainfall over here towards California. Some over here for the Four Corners, but especially over here across mid-Mississippi and across the south central. So for today, you do have a marginal in these green areas for flash flooding. You also have a slight risk for the coast of California over here for flash flooding. And this is for today. This is going to be on the move after tomorrow. For tomorrow, it's going to pivot again. You're going to get a slight risk once again down here towards the LA, Santa Barbara area. So be aware of the flash flooding as you go through for Tuesday. This is going to swing across the four corners with a marginal. Wednesday is going to go set up across the South Central, and this is where it deepens for Thursday, where it brings you chances for the flash flooding, where you have that slight risk. We could even see a Friday potentially a little bit lower and a slight risk as well. Now, this isn't bringing an Arctic blast across the south and the southeast for Thanksgiving. This isn't happening. What you're seeing in the data when you look at your PNA, your Pacific North American pattern, it lets us know which side of the U.S. we have a trough or a high pressure from the experience I've been having with the years I've been forecasting these. You can see with the PNA that we're literally going into that negative phase right before Thanksgiving and potentially going really deep into that phase right at the end of Thanksgiving. And you can see the same thing here. When you have that negative PNA, you get that deep trough and you get that high ridge with that big high pressure swinging everything around in this direction. And this is the pattern that the storms are going to go into. So this is the pattern we're going to be into for Thanksgiving with that Arctic blast punching down right towards the four corners like I showed you in the beginning of the video. Now you can see this when you look with GFS as you go from the 25th and move on. Now we start getting that deep trough coming through, and right before Thanksgiving on the 26th, going into Thanksgiving afternoon, we get that deep trough coming through of that Arctic blast coming up on that high ridge. And we're getting that snow, that freezing rain. We're getting the mix, and we're getting storms on the southern side. Now, this is literally already 12 days away. This will move around a little bit, but this trough is coming through like this with that colder air. And this is a great opportunity actually for this to happen. We will be along the warmer temperatures with the colder temperatures punching down. So for Thanksgiving morning, these are your temperatures coming down. You have the freezing temperatures coming all the way down. You can see it's still warmer across the eastern U.S. because of that weather pattern that we're going into. A lot of negative temperatures coming through for the higher elevations of the northern Rockies. You could be all the way towards negative 10, negative 15 degrees. Now with the wind chills, it's going to feel even colder. You could feel like negative 20 something, maybe even negative 30 degrees. But once again, you can see that weather pattern that we're in. Now, snow is very hard to forecast. You can see here with GFS showing that storm coming by on Tuesday. We could see a couple of inches that come out of that. It all depends on timing, whether the warm temperatures hit it, whether it comes down at night. But shows we could start seeing snowstorms as we go into that weather pattern, as we go into Thanksgiving Day and beyond. Multiple chances of snowstorms coming right along that pattern. Now, when you look with the Euro is saying it's going to be a little bit too warm for any of that to turn into snow just yet. Now, the temperatures will be there, but it all depends if there's warmer temperatures, if they go up on that higher ridge like this, or whether they pinpoint a higher ridge like this. In fact, Climate Prediction Center has put an outlook on it just in case. So you can see this from the 23rd all the way towards the 29th. We could see that trough coming through, and it could go on a very high ridge where it'd be too warm to get this snowfall right here. All the snow would be over here. But it could linger this way from the 26th through the 29th, where you do get the snow for this section. So there is both possibilities. And you can see the front moving through as we go through this phase. It's not going towards the south or the southeast. That's going to be after Thanksgiving going into December. And you can see this here. So as we look further with our sudden stratospheric warming event way up into the atmosphere at our 50 millibar anomaly, you can see that we start going to that weather pattern where we get that deep trough, the cooler air, but the cold air stays bottled up into Canada. Don't make it all the way down, everybody. And then as we go past Thanksgiving, you see it swoops in again, and it comes a little bit deeper. So for the pattern that we have going into December is we're going to have a jet stream coming across like this with colder air, bringing snowstorms along the way. So our pattern is going to dramatically change. So that's how it's going to be for December. And for the rest of November, as we're going in with Thanksgiving, our pattern is going to be into this extreme scenario. And you can see this from climate forecast systems. So as we go into a deep trough and a high ridge for Thanksgiving with the cold air coming down, very cold wind chills at that, you can see that it's going to start changing its pattern across the northern half of the U.S. as we go into December. So now we're going to get the cold air swinging through across the north. So these snowstorms could line up into this direction, bringing colder air through. You see that? It don't come across the south and the southeast. You might get into the 40s again, but you can see how it swings across like that. Showing with the snow as we go into Thanksgiving week, a little bit of snow towards the north more likely will be a little bit too warm, but then the snowstorms are going to start coming in for the end of November into December, and it's going to be right along that pattern. Showing as we go all the way towards the middle of December, we still have a lot of snow that is coming through. And as we go all the way towards the end of December, this is where it's really going to bomb out even more. So we're going to be in this set pattern. Now, just to make sure you know the weather pattern that we're going into, as we go into the beginning of December, I'm going to do another one of these so you can get a full December winter forecast going into January. That way you know what to expect. Make sure you subscribe, follow along for updates. And remember, I do have the holiday promotion out, so if you want to go get a mug or a candle or a hoodie, the link is down in the description below this video. Thank you again for your support. This helps me do what I do on the daily. Thank you again for your time, everybody. And most of all, thank you again for your support. I appreciate every single one of y'all. Now, before you go today, some quick words from our Father. No matter what you're going through, remember these things. John 16:33. These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. Amen. And that was Jesus speaking. So remember, whatever you're going through, just lay it down, give it to Jesus, and he will give you peace. He will take care of it for you. Don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will worry about itself. Remember, above all things, all glory does go to God, our Father in heaven, Yahweh. And I always hope he keeps you safe every single day of your life and forever. Amen. Hallelujah. Amen.